With Bitcoin testing a new all-time high right now, your thoughts on this crypto rally? And I guess just as importantly,
You could tell he's excited to be talking about Bitcoin.
since you've been outspoken about it in the past, how much of your portfolio is in cryptocurrency?
I don't even know how much, but it's happy. Bitcoin in particular and Ether, ETH to a smaller extent, Bitcoin is just driven by supply and demand. There's only going to be 21 million of them. The more people that buy and the fewer people that sell, that means the price is going to go up. That's just the nature of it. It's a great store of value. That's why I have an investment in it, because I do feel that the demand is going to exceed the number of people selling.
Yeah, I absolutely do think the same thing too. Mark Cuban, of course, you've already know he needs no introduction. Shark Tank, billionaire, no longer the majority stake owner of the Mavericks, but I mean, the record speaks for himself.
ETH, we'll see what happens with the ETF and whether or not that gets approved. But because of the way it works, it's a little bit different and it's a little bit more driven by utility, but there's more and more applications coming for the utility. The biggest disappointment of crypto so far has been there's not that one application where you go to your grandma and she says, I got to get this new crypto app because all my friends are using it. Kind of like we saw in the early days of apps with Instagram.
I actually don't think we're ever going to get to that.
We need that transitional application for crypto to be ubiquitous. But until then, just from an investment perspective, I'm investing in Bitcoin over gold all day, every day, and I've said that for years.
And that's a good point that this billionaire is saying that he's investing more, putting more money in the Bitcoin versus gold. And of course, with the recent bull market of Bitcoin, he said his account has been happy. So a lot of people have made money. And that's why I think that Bitcoin is going to hit $100,000 this year. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Move on to Bitcoin. Issue 5, Bitcoin's back, baby. It hits an all-time high, 69,000. Interesting number on Tuesday, 69,000 before dropping, sitting around 68K. As we're taping, could be 75 by the time you hear this, or 50.
At the time of this video, it's currently at 68. So it keeps going, hit up and down, and hitting that $69,000 resistance, 69,800 resistance, and it doesn't go far. It just goes down maybe $1,000, $1,500 down to 68 or even 67, and then it goes back up.
It's been ripping in 2024, up 70% since January 25th. There's two things going on here that you've probably heard about. The Bitcoin ETFs finally arrived in the US. They were approved by the SEC on January 10th. We'll get into that in a minute, Chamath. Obviously, if it's an ETF, it's super easy to buy them and sell them. They've been a total hit. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF became the fastest ETF to ever reach 10 billion in assets also.
And I think those ETFs are really key to Bitcoin going up, to Bitcoin eventually hitting that $100,000, 100K mark and beyond.
As the technical crypto heads in the audience know, there is a halving happening in April. This happens about every 4 years at the current pace. Last one was May of 2020. When these halvings happen, the mining rewards are cut in half. This reduces the supply of new Bitcoins entering circulation and can cause some swings. Chamath, we released a clip, I think, just about your prediction, and you nailed it again. You said this would be a big year for Bitcoin. So your thoughts on being right?
I don't have much thoughts on that, but my two comments are that I talk to a lot of Bitcoin traders and folks that seem to have a very good pulse and touch on this market. I don't say that I do because I don't really look at it every day, but they seem to think that this thing is on a death march to 100K. I'm not sure whether that price is realistic or not in a year, but I will say that we're going to get to a tipping point where everybody...
I think we're only in March, right? So, and Bitcoin is only roughly around 31,000, 30,000 from that 100,000 mark. It's definitely going to hit it. As you can see in the chart earlier, it was year to date, it was up $24,000. So with only being with 9 months left roughly in the year, I mean, Bitcoin could definitely rip through 100,000 with no issues.
Really talks about this. I still don't think we're there yet. I think we're just at the beginning. But when you see the inflows into these ETFs, shake out. It's like a very big deal because it just allows every mom and pop individual to buy some to the extent that they want to own it or they want to speculate on it, whatever it is. So I think it's been a very big year. And I think that psychologically, it's proven a lot of folks wrong. And it's a setup for something really constructive. The other thing I'll say is that it's not just Bitcoin, but as goes Bitcoin, there are a handful of other things. People are now speculating that there's going to be an Ethereum ETF that gets approved as well. Because, if you approve one, there's probably legitimate cause to approve a few others. So these things are becoming part of the financial fabric. And I think that should not be underestimated.
Absolutely. I agree with him. It's slowly creeping up, and it's going to be integrated into the financial fabric, as you said.
The SEC is still taking action against certain bad actors in crypto. There were a couple of those this week,
and the SEC taking action, that's cleaning up, the area, cleaning up those companies that really aren't legit, So, and I think that's what's going to enable Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all those, very few coins to go up because the SEC is cracking down on companies that aren't good with people's investments and that aren't really here for the long term.
Bitcoin, Friedberg, is incredibly resilient just on a technological basis. The fact that it hasn't broken down under stress, it hasn't had, a denial of service type of attack, or a government hasn't been able to capture 51% of the mining or some great amount of it, or just even be hacked in any way. You have to be impressed by the fundamental technology here, Friedberg. Maybe you could speak to that level of success, that this thing is so stable and trustworthy and reliable to date.
It's got a great incentive model. As long as Bitcoin price remains high, the miners will still be there and the system will keep running. If Bitcoin price drops, transaction fees will decline, the value of mining will decline, and it kind of goes the other way as well. I
don't think it's going to drop anytime soon, to be honest. It's going to go higher instead of going down, really.
The real question is, in the last couple of years, have we really seen a change in Bitcoin being used for transactions or for commerce in any meaningful way? I think the answer is still likely not.
No, definitely not.
And it's really a stored value system, and it's become this kind of stored value asset.
Stored value, as Mark said in the earlier video, as you can see, that's really what it is, a stored value.